Hey everyone, welcome back to all my listeners. This is episode 14 in season 11. Today is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. My name is Sonal Patel, and this is the Paint the Medical Picture podcast series. All right, you guys, now today's Newsworthy features my new spotlight series on my guests. I'm going to be rolling out the red carpet once again and shine my spotlight on Jeanette Hays and her journey. And of course, my trusty tips and recommendations are peppered throughout our entire conversation. This episode is sponsored by Advanced Coding Services. Let's get into it. Today's episode is sponsored by Advanced Coding Services, a leading medical billing and medical coding school in the United States. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned professional, our training equips you with the tools and support you need to advance your career. Our medical billing and coding school meets your needs worldwide online or in person with one-on-one support throughout your training. We are committed to helping our alumni and credentialed medical community in keeping up their certifications by offering various avenues for acquiring your continuing education units. In addition to our Mastering the Business of Medicine retreats offered several times throughout the year in different parts of the country, we now offer memberships. You can conveniently earn your CEUs by attending our exclusive members-only webinars. Since our aim is to nurture and grow the careers of individuals who work in the business of medicine, we call our member area the Apple Orchard. Advanced Coding Services, educate, nurture, inspire, reaching back with a hand up. All right, everybody, welcome. Welcome to another podcast with me, another Spotlight feature. I am bringing on a really interesting guest for all of you today. Her name is Jeanette Hays. Welcome, Jeanette. I'm so glad to have you here on Paint the Medical Picture podcast today. Yay.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure to have you here. So, you know what? You and I have been going back and forth on our LinkedIn platforms for, I think it's been over a year and a half. And I wanted to bring you on because you have a lot of interesting things to say on LinkedIn. And so, I really wanted kind of my new year on the podcast to kind of be a refresh. And I wanted to try and bring people on, who have an interesting journey, why they got into healthcare. Did you have a different background or did you go straight into healthcare? And if you did, I do have lots of guests like that also. I think folks in the audience would really like to know what it is that inspires people to just dive into healthcare at whatever point in their life. So I'd love to hear some more about you, Jeanette, and please tell us about you and where you are located, everything.
Okay. I am located in Washington State.
Fabulous.
It's a little city, Kennewick, Washington. And my journey actually started back when I was 17 years old. I was a senior in high school, and I just really wanted to get into healthcare. I was very thankful. I applied and I was given 3 interviews before hired, and I was hired for a patient account / billing department. So in that role, I would check patients in, check them out, collect payments, do data entry. So it was a little bit of billing also. So it was at the front desk. So I really got to experience a lot on coding and billing as soon as I started that job. So I was very thankful. I didn't have to. I just got healthcare experience at a young age, and I am so thankful for that because I was able to figure out what I wanted to do career-wise. So yeah, I did that for a couple of years, about 6 years, and then they decided to separate the billing and checkout because it was a lot. Just it could get a little bit tricky when you're trying to collect payments and also do data entry at the same time. It just really work. So then I was very thankful that I was given the opportunity to work just in the billing department. And this was for an FQHC facility, community health clinic. So I worked in the billing department for maybe another 6 years. So I did coding, billing, data entry, answer patient questions, posted payments, worked on denials. I did all of it. And so I'm thankful because I got to really experience the whole revenue cycle, closely with the receptionist also. I was able to train them, learn how to read insurance cards, what we as billers were looking for, make sure you collect front and back of the insurance. And just at such a young age, I was thankful for my mentors. My supervisor at the time, she's suggested I get my medical billing certificate. So, and she paid for half my classes.
Wow.
So it's just an amazing opportunity that I got. And from then I knew that I wanted to stay in healthcare. I didn't want to do the clinical side. Didn't want to be a nurse, but I loved just the revenue cycle. I have a passion for it. So I did the billing for 12 years. I then transferred to behavioral health department, where I did a little bit of admin assistant, but I got promoted so quickly by my manager that I didn't get a lot of hands-on experience there, but I did get manager experience. Once I started in that role, I decided to go and get my bachelor's degree in healthcare administration. That took me about 1.5 years. I graduated in about 2015. And then sat for the RHIA exam. As soon as I was done with that, passed that. And in this time, I still hadn't gotten my coding certification. I did billing for 12 years. I loved it. So in 2021, 2022, I'm sorry. No, it was 2021. Decided to take the course for the CPC and sat for the exam and passed the first time. That was probably the hardest exam I've ever taken, harder, I feel, than the RHIA even. And then 6 months later, got my CPB certification.
Amazing.
Yeah, so in the role of managing, that was a lot of fun. I learned so much. I learned how to be a true leader, how to handle tough situations, how to train, truly be a teacher, which I feel like I'm a teacher at heart after that role, and just help young girls who just started in healthcare, just like someone helped me, being able to help them, that was really fulfilling too. So giving one of my receptionists the opportunity to be the lead. She was so young, but she did such a great job. Yeah, it's just been an amazing journey. And currently I'm working as a coder from home. So I'm thankful I sat for the CPC exam because I've just been getting a lot of hands-on deep dive in the coding world now.
Yeah, Jeanette, that's incredible, right? So I was listening to your story, and yeah, you started super early and you were afforded the opportunity at a very young age, at 17, just kind of doing the billing, collecting those insurance cards, understanding that you need the front and the backs of it at such an early age, right? That's a pivotal role in healthcare, even to this day, right? We need to collect those insurance cards front and back, and start entering that into the computer systems, right? So then the revenue cycle can start, right? It all starts right there with those insurance cards. So wow, you learned so much at that very, very young age. And it sounds like over time you developed a passion for what you were doing, right? That's what I'm hearing. And I think that's really incredible that people took a chance on you, right at that beginning, early stages in life. It's incredible. I am not too sure if that kind of stuff still goes on today in 2024. You know, if people are going to take a chance on you in healthcare at that young age of 17 and kind of throw you into that position, right? I'm not really sure if that's done today at such a young age, but nevertheless, your journey, you were blessed, and you ate it out, right? And many of my guests that I bring on, they do develop that passion, and they want to keep going, right? So I think that's really important for the audience to understand that you also started out in something that not a lot of certified coders are even very savvy at, right? That's FQHC, right?
Right.
Coding and billing is very, very different than just your standard Part A and Part B types of billing, right? It's very, very, very different. We can talk about that later at some point, but that's a very difficult avenue to be very, very savvy at. So I find that interesting that you were thrown into that arena as well and developed your chops there. So that's impressive.
And learning how to, speak to providers at such a young age.
Exactly. I was going to get to that. Yeah.
That was a training in itself because I didn't know how to communicate with the providers, and that I just had to learn. And I was thankful that I got good providers. I got to work with really, really good providers that were very kind and gentle with me.
Yes. See, and that's the key, right? Is when you get to those pivotal roles in your journey, right? It is going to go back to communicating with that provider, right? The actual person who is treating those patients, right? You're entering everything into the computer system. You're helping push out those claims. Now you're coding for those claims. So you're absolutely right. At some point, we have to be able to develop our chops in communication styles as well. So yeah, that's a really good thing that you were afforded kind providers, right? Who treated you gently. We've heard many a story where that might not be the case, where there's a lot of pushback and resistance, and maybe there's a communication breakdown, right? So that really is good that you develop those skills for how to communicate effectively, how to say the right thing.
And in 2002 when we still did paper charting, so
yes,
that slip where
yes,
I couldn't understand the provider's handwriting, so I had
the chicken scratch. Yes.
Well, the chart, I still can't understand it. So that's when I would have to go to the provider or his CNA at the time. And
exactly. Oh, yeah. You're bringing me back. Oh, absolutely. Right. Things were different in the paper chart days because we were always doing the quote unquote query, right? Always, because we didn't understand the handwriting. Right. So we had to follow up with people on the provider's side, like can you please read this? Can you please translate this scribble? Right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so true. That's so true. Things have gotten a lot easier now in terms of communication because it's all typed into the EMR or the EHR. Right. But yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, incredible. And then you did kind of dip your toes into mental health space, but you kind of didn't really get a chance to do a whole lot because they wanted to accelerate you even more and just put you in a managerial position, which kudos, right? Because that's another great skill to have in someone's journey, right? Is how do we manage a team of people, right? Because you can develop a whole bunch of other skills when you take on a leadership role, which is what a manager is, right? So that's also incredible that you were afforded these steps, to elevate and escalate your career. So I think it's pretty impressive. and the fact that you went back to school, right? And the fact that you got those 2 certifications pretty much in 1 year. That's also amazing. And I agree with you wholeheartedly that the CPC examination was so difficult, because I think you and I took it way back in the day when it was 5 hours long. They
Yes.
reduced the time frame now. It was 5 hours and 40 minutes long. So it was almost 6 hours long. So we're stressed out, we're sweating. Yeah, it was a different time. And now they've changed all the requirements, reduced the time frame. Yeah, and our necks were hurting. Like, yeah, it was so much tension. Yeah, for sure.
I was so thankful when I saw the pass on my.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because I did. I mean, I really did take my time to study, and I studied hard, and I took it serious because I really wanted to get that certification.
Mm-hmm.
And I am thankful that I got to schedule my CPB right after. And that one was just amazing, because the billings piece of it is something I just love. I love AR. I love that part where just collecting, why isn't this claim getting paid? Why was this denied? Did it even go through the clearinghouse? Maybe it stopped and it didn't even go to the insurance. Like, doing the research is something I love doing.
Yeah, we are very kindred spirits in that sense. I too started in the billing department in AR, and that's where I fell in love with the research, the Nancy Drew aspect of it all, right? Like figuring out, why hasn't this been paid? Why is it just sitting around? And then really getting into the weeds about finding out about policies and things like that. So yeah, we're very similar in that way. But yeah, it is those certifications. They're hard. But if you really do think this is the right path for you, if this is the right career choice for you, I really do think even in 2024, I think these certifications are crucial to help potential employers understand your devotion. Like, you want to be thought of as someone with integrity, right? Yeah. And so if you obtain a certification, you can be thought of as somebody who's serious about their career, right? Because as we know, once you obtain a certification, be it 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, however many, you have to then continue your education. It's not like you're just done. Like, yay, I got my certification, it's over, I don't have to learn anymore. No, right? In healthcare, the moment you get a certification, you have to continue your education. And so you have to keep going. You have to stay current, because healthcare is rapidly changing all the time.
Yes, it's making sure that that I know what I'm doing and learning, so that then I can, teach other people, or if a person has a question, I'm able to answer and not, feel stuck. So
exactly. Yeah.
Continuing education and is important, and staying up to date and learning. I know, like, your other podcasts have been very helpful for me, because I'm able to learn something that maybe that I missed. So
yeah. No, absolutely. That's a really terrific point that you just made, that our continuing education helps our providers, right? When you work with them, you have to remind them that times have changed. Like, it's 2024. Let's not forget the big overhaul of E&M guidelines, right? They may still be operating with stuff from the past, from 1995 and 1997, right? And you need to tell them quickly, oh no, things are much nicer now for you, the provider. Let's teach you about 2021 office E&M guidelines, right? So that's a really great point that you made, because I do hear from time to time providers, try and pull from their memory banks something that they used to do. And then I have to remind them, no, well, that's over. That's great that you plucked it from the banks of your mind, but that's long gone, right? Those times are over. The rules have changed.
Yes.
So you make a great point that when they come up to you and happen to mention something from yesterday, um, that's a perfect opportunity for you to jump in and say, no, sir, no, ma'am. Let's me help you, with today's CPT coding guidelines,
Yes.
or the definitions, or the Medicare Advantage rules, or the Blue Cross Anthem policy, whatever it might be, right? Things change.
Absolutely. And I noticed it a lot with the providers who had, the older providers that are used to doing it a certain way.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that I really had to work with and train a little more. But for me, at least, I know that they were thankful that I was able to teach them. And like, well, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. See, no, it's nice to be appreciated. Absolutely. And you said that so well, that when you have amazing providers, they support you and they celebrate you and they're grateful to you, right? They understand that it's a team, that you're on their team. You're there to help them be as successful as possible, right? So, yeah, really, really great point. And I also like the fact that even earlier in your career, I only learned this later, that you can go back and teach the people who are starting out fresh, who are thinking about a change, who are thinking about jumping into this really crazy little niche world that we're in, right? Of coding, billing, reimbursement, all of that stuff, right? So I think that's really great that you fell in love with the concept of teaching others, kind of being a mentor for those people that you worked with. You saw something in them that you could help push them to where they were asking to go.
Yeah.
I think that's also a remarkable quality that not a lot of people have. They're just used to doing the numbers, typing, doing the code research, etc., right? They just stay in their lane of just get the job done. So I think that's another impressive trait, that you are willing and want to help other people if you hear them say, hey, I would like to do something a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like paying it forward, someone helped me and I want to help others.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. Yeah. And speaking about Washington, where you're from, yeah, I lived in Seattle, Washington for 2 years.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I miss it. It was such a pretty city. People say it's raining a lot, but when I lived there for 2 years, it like barely rained. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous place to live. So much to do. Oh my God, I loved it there.
Go to the Mariners game?
Yes, I did. My apartment happened to be right next to the stadium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, or at the ballpark. It's not called the stadium, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was right there. And the Seattle Seahawks. And yeah, it was just great. It was just great. Pioneer Square. Oh yeah, I loved it because I lived right in downtown. Yeah, it was amazing. It was a great place. Super fun. Super, super fun. Yeah. So, Jeanette, you have really told the audience a lot about your experience, the fact that you can start really, really young, find your passion, find what it is that you like, and just go for it, and fingers crossed, you're going to enter where you're supposed to enter. Like, you just have to try.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Jeanette. So, I think I'm going to have to bring you back for another episode with us on the podcast where we can talk a little bit more in depth about what your expertise is and talk about what you're trying to do today in 2024. Because I know things have changed a little bit, and I really want you to share with the audience as much as you can on what your expertise is and what you're doing for other people today. I would like that.
Wonderful. Yes, I'd love that.
Awesome. Awesome, Jeanette. So if you don't mind, would you mind if I share where people in my audience can find you today on LinkedIn?
Please do.
I can share them your LinkedIn link there. There it is. So folks can get in touch with you, connect with you, have conversations with you, etc. So yeah, it's just going to be really good food for thought to have this journey of yours in mind for when I bring you back next time and you can share with the audience what your expertise is. And I really do hope that a lot of that is going to be what you've loved in the past, right? Which is the billing and the AR. So hopefully,
along with training front desk. I love that.
See, so that's perfect. That's wonderful, right? Because I really do think like you do, that's a lot of the success to our private practices, right? Is to really understand the full kind of 180 of what goes on in the revenue cycle. And it does start right at the front desk.
It really,
right? Like right when the patients walk in the room. Yeah.
And I think it really helped for me to have the experience on both, where I worked in the billing and I saw just how, unfortunately, some insurances weren't collected. So I'd have to go digging, call the patient. And I also got to train the front desk when I was managing. So I understood the billing department. So for me, it was my mission to train front desk as best as I could so that billing wouldn't suffer. So
yeah. I love that. See, so you already knew.
Yes.
And you helped these practices figure it out quickly. I love that. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. All right. So then I am really, really happy that we had our conversation with Jeanette Hays today on her journey. I am so happy that you were able to spend a little bit of time with us today. I know you've got a busy, busy schedule, but I'm grateful that you came on today to share with us. So
thank you, Sonal, for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely, Jeanette. And I will see you back here next time.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that wraps up today's episode. And as always, I appreciate you all diving into today with me. If you want more information from me, please go ahead and follow me on LinkedIn. I'll leave links to everything in the show notes below. All right, you guys, now please remember to catch my LinkedIn Live broadcast this Friday with my good friend Betty Hovey for our very first Compliance Capers in the month of April. Now, our Friday fireside chat is going to be revolving around the OIG background information on self-disclosures. Very exciting. Now, you guys, I am going to be devoting the entire month of April. Every Friday, those Compliance Capers are going to be focused on various self-disclosures that have been published throughout the country. Now, you guys can also watch it live on my YouTube channel for Paint the Medical Picture. All right, you guys, I wish you guys an incredible month of April, right? It's a brand new month. And I wish you guys an incredible and happy, happy week ahead as well. Thank you so much for listening in on today's very special episode. And I hope every week with me brings you closer to helping your providers paint a masterpiece. See you next Wednesday.